Hello and welcome to another opportunity to sleep better tonight. And today I want to show you how to stay asleep all night. And being unable to stay asleep is also a type of insomnia. A lot of people falsely assume that insomnia only means the inability to fall asleep, but the inability to stay asleep and to sleep all night, to have a restful sleep, is also a form of insomnia. It's often referred to as maintenance insomnia or sleep maintenance insomnia. And sometimes it's also called middle of the night insomnia. But I think the word maintenance insomnia is a really good way of expressing it because, well, that's exactly what it is. You can't maintain a healthy sleep. And one of the first things that I figured out when it came to healing my maintenance insomnia, because for a very long time I wasn't just suffering from insomnia and I couldn't fall asleep if my life depended on it. And at some point my life actually almost depended on it. That's how bad it was. I mean, I still remember during the time when I lived and studied in Germany, I was so stressed out and I was so insomniac that I couldn't sleep for almost 3 days. And at the same time, when I then fell asleep, I maybe slept for about half an hour and then I woke up again. And one of the first things that I did was to avoid big meals that contain a lot of carbohydrates before going to bed. In fact, some studies prove that meals that are loaded in carbohydrates, or let's say that are rich in carbohydrates, make you wake up more often during the night. You have a less restful sleep. And for example, I try to get my dinner at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., but not later than 7 p.m. And I usually go to bed at 10 p.m. So at least 2 to 3 hours before I go to bed, I don't have any meal anymore. And I try to eat a protein and vegetable-rich dinner, and I try to avoid a lot of empty carbohydrates. For me, that made a big difference. And what also made a difference for me is to not drink water before going to bed, at least not right before I went to bed. I usually don't drink any water about, again, 2 hours before I go to bed. So roughly 2 hours up to 3 hours before going to bed, I don't drink any water anymore and I also don't eat anything anymore. And then as a result, I don't have to go to the bathroom in the night, or if I have to go, then it's only one time. But of course, if you're chugging a whole bottle of water, let's say 500 milliliters, right before you go to bed, then you don't have to wonder why you always have to get up in the night to pee. That's it's a natural thing. You can't help it. However, I just take one little sip of water when I take the one sleeping supplement that really changed my life. And in a previous episode, I already mentioned the power of tryptophan, or let's say Ltryptophan, which is an essential amino acid that is used in the production of the mood and sleep neurotransmitters, serotonin and melatonin. So Ltryptophan alone is already powerful when it comes to improving your sleep. And in fact, dietary tryptophan intake has been associated with healthy sleep duration. And there's one supplement that not only contains tryptophan, but also melatonin, and also a bunch of other incredible ingredients that can help you to fall asleep fast and to stay asleep at night. And from all the research I did and from all the different supplements that I tried on myself, I can confidently say that this is the best one that I've ever found. And up to this day, I believe in this supplement. And like I said, this supplement contains tryptophan and it also contains melatonin. And melatonin is produced by the pineal gland in your brain and it supports your sleep cycle. And the higher your melatonin levels are in the evening, the faster you will fall asleep and the better your sleep quality can be. So the more easy it will be for you to actually stay asleep during the night. And if you want to find out more about this powerful supplement, then you can go to sleepbettertonightpodcast.com/asleep. That's sleepbettertonightpodcast.com/asleep. Or you can alternatively click on the first link in the description. And I want to be 100% honest and transparent with you. If you decide to click on this link and to then invest in this supplement, I receive a commission for it, but I only recommend it to you because I believe in it. I believe in the science behind the ingredients and because I used it myself, and I truly believe that it is incredibly powerful if you want to improve your sleep without, at least according to my experience, my personal experience, any side effects, because all the ingredients are completely natural. And avoid blue light before you go to bed. That's also something that I would do. Not only if you want to fall asleep faster, but also if you want to stay asleep during the night. Because speaking of melatonin, blue light suppresses melatonin secretion and it can affect your sleep. And it can also increase your alertness, which is the last thing that you want actually right before you go to sleep. That's why I always say when you have to check your alarm clock right before you go to sleep, or you have to program your alarm clock in your smartphone, or you have to do anything else looking at your smartphone or at a screen right before you go to sleep, I would always use blue light blocker glasses. I also have blue light blocker glasses, and if you want to find out more about the company that I recommend, because they filter out the most blue light, at least according to my research, then you can go to sleepbettertonightpodcast.com/glasses and make sure that your room is dark. And I mean really dark, pitch black dark. That's why I'm such a big fan of blackout curtains. They don't have to be expensive. I, for example, invested in blackout curtains from, I think, IKEA. Yeah, they were really cheap from IKEA, but they do their job. And when you rent, or especially when you buy an apartment, think about something that most people never think of, and that's when and on which side will the sun actually come in and at what time. And at the same time also, when you go to sleep, that's one of the best things you can do, is to shut off all electronic devices. And to shut off all the electronic devices has two reasons, or let's say two benefits. The first one is that the electromagnetic signals are no longer disturbing your sleep, and yes, that can actually happen. Electrosmog can have a very negative impact on your ability to stay asleep and on your sleep in general. But what also happens often with these electronic devices is that they blink. I mean, it's the simplest thing ever. They blink. Sometimes it's a little red light or a little green light, and this can already be enough. Most of the time, in fact, this is already enough to disturb your sleep cycle. Remember, we as human beings are not biologically programmed to look in screens or to see blinking lights. We are biologically programmed when it's dark, when it's night, that it's dark. And that's how we evolved to sleep. So that's why it's a good idea to shut off all electronic devices. And then when you exercise during the day to be sleepy in the evening, but don't exercise in the evening, at least not too late. I mean, yes, some people can do it. I can't do it. When I exercise in the evening, then I'm awake all night. And for you, it might be the same. And no more coffee after lunchtime. That's one of the worst things you can do for your sleep cycle. And it can get even worse if you combine coffee with the typical let's have coffee and cake in the afternoon at 4 or 5 p.m. That's the worst thing you can do, because then you load your body with unhealthy carbohydrates, which is already bad for your sleep quality. And then on top of that, you give your body caffeine. I mean, that's just, don't do it if you have insomnia. Don't do it if you want to improve your sleep. There's nothing wrong with a morning coffee, but I would suggest that after lunchtime, be very careful with coffee. And invest in really good soundproof windows in your bedroom in case you build a house or you buy an apartment, or at least make sure that you buy an apartment or rent an apartment where it's quiet, at least if you are a light sleeper. And I assume that if you are listening to this episode because you have trouble staying asleep, this means that you are a light sleeper. I mean, I'm an incredibly light sleeper. I wake up so easily, and I still remember the time when I was working in Bangkok in Thailand, and I was in an apartment where it was very loud. There were street dogs on the other side of the Soi, which is a street in Bangkok in Thailand, and I just couldn't sleep there. And then eventually when I moved to a place where it was very quiet, where the apartment and the bedroom was to the inside of the apartment, there was no noise, no street noise, suddenly I could sleep like a baby. And that can also help you. If you live somewhere where it's loud, then you don't have to wonder why you can't stay asleep all night. And what you can also do, or what you should do, in fact, what is very important, is to prioritize your mental health. Because trouble falling asleep or staying asleep is a common side effect of mental health conditions like anxiety, especially social anxiety, and depression. So prioritize your mental health, work on your mental health. Please don't ignore this important factor when it comes to improving your sleep quality. And then create your very own nighttime routine. That's also something that helped me tremendously, because we human beings, we are creatures of habit. And when you associate this nighttime routine with being relaxed, with being calm, with being ready to go to bed, then you're way more likely to fall asleep and to stay asleep. For example, I take a shower before I go to bed. Then I sometimes take my journal and write down ideas and make a gratitude list. But what I always do before I go to bed is to think about at least 3 things that I'm grateful for. And then I meditate a bit and then I go to bed. And speaking of meditation, avoid stressors in your life as much as you can. We live in a world where stress is glorified, where so many people on YouTube, so many motivational coaches tell you to sleep less. I mean, hey, that's why you're here, because you're already sleeping less, so you shouldn't listen to that, and to work harder, to stress yourself, to do more. And that's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for you as a human being. It's not healthy for your sleep, for your mental health, and for your physical health. It's not healthy at all. So that's why it's important, or let's say you might want to try out meditation. And if you try out meditation, one meditation teacher, scientist, however you want to call it, that I recommend that you check out is Dr. Joe Dispenza. I'm not affiliated with him at all, but if you have a look at his books, You're the Placebo and Becoming Supernatural, and then you do the guided meditations, I'm confident that it can help you. And take a day off every now and then and just try to experience less stress. And if you are stressed at the moment, if you believe that stress is a reason why you struggle with staying asleep, then there's another supplement that I recommend to you from the exact same company, where I also recommend the sleeping supplement. And you can find out more about this supplement if you go to sleepbettertonightpodcast.com/relaxed. That's sleepbettertonightpodcast.com/relaxed, or you click on the second link in the description. And 2 of the many ingredients of this supplement are passion flower and Griffonia seed extract 5-HTP. And several studies have found that passion flower can support everyday stress. Also, in some studies, they had a look at relaxation before surgeries. So even then, passion flower can relax you. So in case you don't have any surgery coming up, it can relax you even more. And when it comes to 5-HTP, 5-HTP is a natural amino acid extract that's derived from the seed of the Griffonia plant. And this is the immediate precursor to serotonin, a neurotransmitter that is generally thought of as the happy neurotransmitter, which is responsible for feelings of well-being and contentment. And these are just 2 of the many natural ingredients of this supplement. So you can find out more about if you go to sleepbettertonightpodcast.com/relaxed.